Okay, guys, we're going to read, or I'm going to read you, what happens to a hamburger. All right, so I'm sure most of you have eaten hamburger, and you probably know. So this week we're talking about digestion. So here we go. What happens to a hamburger? So the kids are sitting there. Here we go. It says, I like to eat. I like bread and pears and celery. I like carrots and chicken and potatoes and hamburgers. I like orange juice and milk and tomato juice. What do you like? Okay, hopefully you guys are thinking of all the foods that you've eaten today. Good food makes you strong and healthy. It gives you energy and helps you grow. We talked about that when we talked about our food pyramid and the amount of servings we should have and looking at food labels. So good food makes you strong and healthy. You can see all the healthy kids. Okay, your body uses food in different ways. It uses some kinds of food to make strong bones and hard teeth. It turns other food into solid muscles. It uses some food you eat to keep you warm. Before your body can do these things, it has to change the food. Solid foods, like hamburgers and potatoes, have to be changed into liquids. Liquids, like milk and orange juice, have to be changed too. When you change the food, you are digesting it. So digesting it is when you change the food you eat. Okay, and here's an experiment that you guys could do. Put 2 lumps of sugar in an empty glass. Take a wooden spoon and pound the lumps with the handle. Pound them until they are broken into powder. Now put some water in the glass and stir. Keep stirring until the sugar powder has disappeared. And you could actually, instead of using sugar cubes, you could just use 2 of the exact same amounts of sugar. And then it's already a powder and you don't have to pound it up. Take a sip of the water. Can you taste the sugar? The sugar has disappeared, but it is still here, still there. It has broken up into millions of tiny pieces. Your eyes cannot see them, but your tongue can taste them. When you digest your food, you break it up into millions of very tiny pieces. You start to do this as soon as you take a bite to eat. Digestion begins in your mouth when you chew. You break up the food with your teeth. Get a piece of raw carrot in a plate. Take a bite of carrot and chew it 10 times. Spit the carrot out onto the edge of the plate. Take another bite. Chew it 30 times. Spit out that mouthful on the other side of the plate. Can you see the difference? The longer you chew food, the smaller the pieces will be. Okay, so this is kind of gross. So, very gross actually. Something else helps break up the food in your mouth. It is a fluid. Some people call it spit. Its correct name, or its scientific name, is saliva. Whenever you take a bite of food, saliva pours into your mouth. You say your mouth is watering. Saliva comes from small glands in your cheeks and under your tongue. So they're called salivary glands. Can you find them in the picture? Sometimes saliva pours into your mouth even before you take a bite. The smell of food will start it. Take a good sniff of a box of chocolates. Sniff a jar of pickles. What other kinds of foods make your mouth water? After you have chewed your food, you swallow it. Your epiglottis closes. It's a door that keeps food from going into your lungs. Can everybody find the epiglottis in this picture? Your throat squeezes together when you swallow. It pushes the food down into your esophagus. Another name for esophagus is gullet. So can you guys find your esophagus in this picture? And look at the windpipe. Now the windpipe goes to your lungs, and the esophagus is going to take a guess, and we'll see if it's right. And look at the difference between the epiglottis open and the epiglottis closed. Your gullet is a tube that leads from the back of your mouth to your stomach. And that's the same thing as your esophagus, remember? There are muscles in your, I'm going to call it an esophagus because that's what it's more commonly called, even though this book is calling it a gullet. Your esophagus, there are muscles in your esophagus that squeeze together. They push food into your stomach. So here's your esophagus. The food's coming down, and these muscles are pushing it down. And you see how it goes, and it hooks up with your stomach. After you have chewed your food, you swallow it. Your epiglottis closes. It is a door that keeps food from going into your lungs. Your throat squeezes together when you swallow. It pushes the food down into your esophagus. Oops, we already read that page. We're going backwards. Sorry about that. Your stomach is a tube like your gullet. But there is a difference. Your stomach can stretch like a balloon. When you eat, your stomach stretches to hold the food. After you swallow your meal, your stomach closes at the end. So can you see where it closes? The food cannot get out. The muscles begin to squeeze. The food is smashed and stirred together. So those arrows are showing the muscle movements, the muscles squeezing. Your stomach has fluids in it like the saliva in your mouth. They are called digestive fluids. They pour in from tiny glands on the side of the stomach. You guys see that? The digestive fluids help break the food into smaller and smaller pieces. So the point of digestion is to actually get your food in really, really, really small pieces. Food stays in your stomach for several hours. Some kinds of food stay only about 2 hours. Other kinds stay longer. The food stays until all the lumps have been broken up. It's like a thick soup now. It is made of millions and millions of tiny pieces. But digestion has begun. The tiny pieces must be made even smaller. This happens in the intestines. Here's a family out having a picnic, starting the digestion process by chewing it. There are 2 intestines in your body, the small intestine and the large intestine. They are really one single long tube. The tube is coiled up inside you like a pile of heavy rope. It's about 21 feet long. So if you guys want to see something fun, take a tape measure and pull out 21 feet and see how long that is. And that's all coiled up inside of you. Most of the tube is narrow and is called the small intestine. The last 4 or 5 feet of the tube are much bigger around. This part is called the large intestine. And here's a picture of our digestive system. So remember, digestion started up here in your mouth when you started chewing it up and it was breaking, the saliva was breaking it down. Then it was being pushed down your epiglottis into your stomach where it was pushed by muscles again and broken down even smaller. And then when it got even smaller, it came out into the small intestine and the large intestines, which were, you guys remember, 21 feet long, just about. The soupy food is squeezed into the small intestine from the stomach. Digestive fluids from the liver and pancreas are mixed with the food in the small intestine. These fluids break the food up into very tiny pieces called molecules. Molecules are so small you cannot see them without a special microscope. So here's a picture of your stomach again. Your small intestine. See, the soupy food is coming out and going into your small intestine. Okay, and let's see this one. It is digestive fluids from the liver, the foods going into molecules, going into small intestine. Okay. The food molecules pass into tiny blood and lymph vessels in the walls of the small intestine. They move into your blood. Then your blood carries them to every part of your body. So the molecules are in your small intestine and they're getting pulled out to go help your body. This is the part of the food that is not digested in the small intestine is squeezed into the large intestine. From here, water molecules pass into the bloodstream. Your body cannot use all of the food you eat. The food it cannot use is stored in the large intestine. You get rid of the unused food when you go to the toilet. So all the water is coming out, and you see that stuff, the food that's left in your intestine is just getting pushed and pushed further along. Let's see what it's probably starting to look like. Let you know. In the morning, you may eat scrambled eggs or cereal. You may drink orange juice or hot chocolate. In a few hours, your body has digested the food. Then your blood begins to carry the tiny food molecules to your muscles to make them stronger, to your bones and teeth to make them harder, to every part, there it goes, to every part of your body to give you energy and to help you grow. All right, so that was our book. You guys are going to watch some Magic Schoolhouse videos. You are also going to, you're going to do an experiment where a bag is going to simulate or pretend like it's your stomach, and you're going to see how soupy and gross everything gets in your stomach. So that should be fun. And hopefully by the end of the week, you can explain what happens to a hamburger or a piece of fruit or whatever you're eating from start to finish.